KBLA Talk 1580.
Are you ready to be a part of the conversation that will help shape our nation's future? Get ready to join us for the Left Coast Forum, Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech, where progressive voices will come together to tackle the issues that matter most to working families across Los Angeles and beyond. From economic justice to climate action, from healthcare to housing, we're bringing together the brightest minds and most passionate advocates for real solutions and real change. With workshops, 2 major keynote addresses, and a closing reception with great music and good food. It's the Left Coast Forum, where your voice matters and your ideas take action. Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the LA Progressive. The future won't wait, and neither should you. Mark your calendar now to be there and be heard. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details.
Ask me how I'm doing, I'm blessed, yes. Living every moment, no regrets. Smile up on my face, I'm like, oh, yes, I'm blessed, yes, I'm blessed, yes. Waking up, thanking God. Every day is feeling just like Sunday. Wifey fly, by my side. Green light, everything is going my way. Riding clean, living dreams. Just left the barber and I'm feeling like Midas. Heard him say, give him praise. What's in the water got you acting like this? Ain't a day go by that I don't try to thank the Lord up above. And if you wonder why I'm loving life, come close and I'll tell you what's up. Ask me how I'm doing, I'm blessed, yes. Living every moment, no regrets. Smile up on my face, I'm like, oh, yes, I'm blessed, yes, I'm blessed, yes. Ask me how I'm doing, I'm blessed.
Rainbows and crystals, butterflies and flowers, sunshine, waves, all of my favorite things, all of your favorite things. We are blessed. Even in this mess, we're still blessed. Right, it's the perfect time to call me. Phone lines are wide open right now. 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580, or you have the option of going, well, you can do both at the same time, like Molly Bell does, like Paul does. You can call me at 800-920-1580 while you're in the chat room at YouTube, the comments section at youtube.com, KBLA 1580. There's always a party or a battle or some combination of the two going on there, and I'm always dipping in there. So is Miles. Miles, you stay in the chat room talking to the folks, and I love that for us. So yeah, good morning. Let's talk about it.
Them the homies in the chat room. I like them.
Homies in the chat room for sure. And guess what? Epstein released the Epstein files. Morris must be having a great day. He says it every day in the chat. And yesterday, it was going down in Washington, D.C. because there was a press conference with survivors. I will call them victors because they managed to be victimized and still come out victorious and live their lives. And they were really putting the government on blast because they have not made public everything they know and everything available about the pedophilia ring that was run by Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, who's currently in prison, albeit a cushy prison she's been transferred to by the Trump administration, and Jeffrey Epstein, who allegedly committed suicide in jail. They had an event in D.C. Survivors, victors of that horrible chapter, I won't even call it an episode because this was going on for many years, spoke out, some for the first time ever, including this one girl, Marina Lacerda, who was pimped by Epstein between the ages of 14 and 16, and at 17 apparently she aged out of the job. She was too old at 17 for the pedophiles to continue to desire. And one of the highlights for me was that some of the victims said they were going to create their own list. Whether there's an Epstein list or not, she said, we know who the regulars were. We know who it should have been on the list if there was no list, and who is on it if there actually is one. And while they didn't threaten to make it public, she said it would be for the survivors and by the survivors with no outside influences. It certainly would be it certainly would be something that probably would leak out at some point, some kind of way, because there's just way too much interest in this. And I think it was important that they had this news conference. It went on for a couple of hours. It was quite terrible, the things they shared. But it's important because we have to face the music. Otherwise, it sounds like it's Republicans versus Democrats, and it's just a bunch of politicians using other people's tragedy to further their own causes, which is true to a point. But when you hear the women's stories and what they went through, and they really were children, now they're women, they were children when this happened to them, I think it puts it in a different light. And it reminds people why it's important to release these files. It cannot be that only 2 people are held accountable for what was a vast conspiracy to exploit children sexually. Pedophilia ring. I mean, nothing short of. And for me, I've said it before, I'll say it again, I'm going to keep saying it because I don't want it to fall out of the headlines. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. If you're sexually exploiting children, you need to be held accountable. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat, a progressive or a conservative, a liberal or a fascist. It's not okay to exploit children sexually. Period. Full stop. Nothing mysterious about it. So I'm glad to see these women, now women, pushing back. The other thing that was important that was said repeatedly, Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, claims the reason he sent people home early so they wouldn't have to vote on this Epstein transparency bill, claims that one of the reasons he does not want to pass this bill or even put it up for a vote is because he's trying to protect the victims. Now you've got a whole lineup of victims saying, nah, we want that out. We want it released. And the bill actually provides for the redaction of their personal identifying information and their names. So that's just a false argument anyway. So this is good news, and it's going to keep coming up. It was very telling that the president tried to distract people from this, and that he called it a hoax again, even though clearly it's not a hoax. You see these women who, it's not like, something that happened 100 years ago where we're taking people's word for it or trying to, historians' word for it or trying to dig up old records. These are living humans that were the victims of this crime. And they're telling you what happened. They're telling you what they want. So it makes it a lot harder to deny it, a lot harder to pretend it's a hoax, although we know this president will do it anyway. And now it's come out that Virginia Giuffre, who was one of the most outspoken of the victims, who helped bring down Epstein and Prince Andrew, who denied ever knowing her, even though he was in a photograph hugged up on her when she was just a child. Well, she died allegedly by suicide at the age of 41 last year. It seems very suspicious, although I did see an interview with her brother and sister-in-law on CNN that made it seem like maybe she could have suicided, because they're talking about how she was the victim of domestic violence even after she was victimized by Epstein. And maybe it all became too much. I still find it awfully convenient that she would kill herself, but maybe. But anyway, there was a dispute between the estate of Virginia Giuffre and the publishing company, Knopf, which was meant to put out her memoir. Well, apparently they have reached a deal, and her memoir, called Nobody's Girl, will drop October 21st. So just as soon as Congress finishes hearing testimony, just as soon as people start to forget about the testimony of these victims, Giuffre's book will come out, and she'll be able to speak from beyond the grave and keep this story going. It's Trump's worst nightmare. It's Speaker Johnson's worst nightmare, and I am here for it. Because she was the first one that spoke out and said, you know what? I'm going to take all the risks, and clearly she paid a very high price for that, taking on billionaires and royalty to bring justice for children who had their lives altered forever by pedophiles. So she'll have the last word from beyond the grave, and I'm sure there are billionaires and politicians and donors to the Trump campaign, if not the president himself, who are squirming in their seats, turning in their graves, yelling at their publicists right now in anticipation of the release of this tell-all book. It's perfect time to call me, 800-920-1580. I'm Dominique DiPrima for the one and only KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Dr. Nicolai Corte. Let's preserve Black land stories before they're lost forever. I want to personally invite you to be a part of something historic. As journalist in residence for the Black Land Lost Narrative Archive Project, I've joined forces with powerhouse attorney and social justice champion George Fothery, the man who helped make history by delivering justice to the Bruce family in Manhattan Beach, securing the first known return of land unjustly taken from Black owners by a local government. That victory was monumental, but it was just the beginning. For generations, Black families have acquired land through grit, faith, and determination, only to lose it through violence, legal loopholes, forced sales, and systematic racism. What's been taken goes far beyond dirt and deeds. It's the erasure of wealth, identity, and legacy. That's why we've launched the Black Land Lost Narrative Archive Project, a national effort to collect, protect, and preserve the stories of Black land lost before they're buried, forgotten, or erased altogether. Because there's power in telling Black stories, there is resistance in remembering, and there's justice in being seen and heard. This is where you come in. We're inviting you to be a part of this historic Black narrative archive. If you or someone you know has experienced land loss, displacement, or forced property sales, your story deserves to be heard and remembered. Your story belongs in this archive. Your truth matters not just to your family, but to our collective future. Visit blacklandlost.org today. Fill out our simple intake form and add your voice to the National Archive of Remembrance, Resilience, and Reckoning. Let's make these stories live on, not in whispers, but on the record. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Dr. Nicolai Corte, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Why'd I go to the doctor? My heart would race just taking my son to practice. It didn't feel right. So I got checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Dr. Renee here. Did you know this time of year is considered peak asthma season because we typically see a spike in asthma-related hospitalizations? If you have asthma and are having difficulty breathing despite medication, it's time to check in with your doctor so you can help avoid landing yourself in the hospital this season. To learn more about managing your asthma, visit www.luma-edu.com. That's LUMA-edu.com. This message is brought to you by Amgen and AstraZeneca.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
Continues right now with you. You're welcome to call 800-920-1580 or hop in the comments and say a thing about a thing at 800-920-1580. So my Think Tank Thursday question of the day was, why is the Posse Comitatus Act so important? Why is it important for the military not to be deployed against regular people, everyday citizens and residents? And what can we do to preserve that separation? I mean, the courts are trying. We'll see what the Supreme Court does. But even the Supreme Court has said that, that the president can't just use this 150-year-old law to bring the military into cities. Because it's meant to be for war, a declared war, which we are not in. The war against black people is an undeclared war. And even though it might have been one of the most important wars of Stephen Miller's lifetimes, it is not a declared war, and therefore you just can't send the military to occupy black communities. And that's what the courts have said. A judge said, nope. Judge Breyer, nope, that's a violation of Posse Comitatus. I didn't realize that this judge was the brother of the late Supreme Court Justice Breyer. I don't know, for some reason that makes it seem more, powerful, or like it has more gravitas. Judge Charles Breyer of the U.S. District Court in San Francisco, he issued that ruling on Tuesday, saying that the deployment was in violation of the Posse Comitatus Act. Why is that important? Well, I think Dr. Abdullah, our inaugural scholar for Think Tank Thursday, really did a good job of explaining that. Because the military is supposed to protect the country from outside invaders, from enemy combatants. So if you send the military to L.A., you're saying L.A. is the enemy. If you send the military to black communities across the country, you're saying black people are the enemy, et cetera, et cetera. You see, and so I think that was really well said, and I believe it is important because not only do we not want to be occupied, we're already occupied in many cases by hostile police forces. We don't want to be occupied by actual military units. And number one. Number two, obviously most of those folks are not trained to deal with civilian populations. Number three, it's a huge waste of money because those deployments cost millions and millions. Look at the hole in the LA City budget from having the National Guard here, which was the last thing we needed right now. We're still bouncing back from COVID. We're bouncing back from the fire, trying to. And here you go, wasting our money on National Guard to stand around and do nothing, and or bother people at protests. So many reasons why this is a bad idea. And I think when you bring in the military at the same time you're militarizing police, there's this blur of authoritarian control, suppression, repression of people that is anti-democratic republic, in my opinion. And then there's the fact that anytime you have more and more and more law enforcement with less and less and less oversight inside of African American, black, FBA, freedmen communities, and Latino communities, by the way, it just never ends well. You don't even need a scientific study for that. It just doesn't end well. Love to hear your thoughts on this on a Think Tank Thursday, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. So Carl Tucker was asking last hour, why are people being federally charged now for protesting? And I think I'm going to concur with Dr. Abdullah. She said that this is part of fascism, where you go hard to discourage any kind of dissent, especially protest. Protest wakes people up. Protest changes policies. Protest exposes lies that are being told by the liar-in-chief and others in his administration. Whoops, did I call him a name? I always say I try not to do name calling. By the person who appears to be lying all the time, by the person who's practicing lying on the daily. There we go. That's how you say it, without name calling. The point is, that is meant to discourage people from protesting, jail folks who would speak out against you, especially those who are going to be very credible in speaking out, like this veteran, this Army veteran who was arrested. This guy was in special ops in Afghanistan. Former Army sergeant, survived a roadside bomb attack. His dad was in military service. Their whole family, his wife was in military service. That's where they met. Someone like that protesting against what you're doing with ICE is going to be a problem because they have credibility and experience. So you throw the book at them as a means of shutting them down, silencing their voice, and keeping this information and the spirit of resistance from spreading. That's what I think. 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. I got to say, it's really weird to hear Marjorie Taylor Greene saying things that sound true. But I'll take it. She was on fire yesterday. Credit where credit is due. I know she's kind of, unhinged, has a lot of conspiracy theories, and likes to attack black women, but I'll take it. Marjorie Taylor Greene was really blasting folks who are trying to keep this info hidden yesterday. And this is one of those, I always say bipartisanship is a myth, sort of like the Sasquatch or the Easter Bunny. But we saw it yesterday. Thomas Massie, a Republican, and Ro Khanna, a Democrat, are the two people that engineered this big press conference around the Jeffrey Epstein files and featuring those who have been victors of that horrible ring era, whatever it is. They're the ones who started collecting signatures to get a discharge petition, which can let regular rank-and-file lawmakers put legislation on the floor without the speaker, without any support from the Republican leadership. They just need 218 signatures. They could force a vote and go around Mike Johnson before he sends them back on another long vacation. It's unlikely because it's hard to get Republicans to do anything that defies the president in any way. And the White House has already explicitly said that anyone who supports this discharge petition would be on their target list, saying they view it as a very hostile act to the administration. That's really not even a veiled threat. It's just a regular threat. But still, the White House is freaking out. The fact that they have to put out a statement means they're worried about it. If it was some fringe thing that had no chance of passing, getting enough signatures, they wouldn't be worried about it. They are worried about it because they know that Republicans in some of these purple districts who have to run for re-election will probably be forced to sign it or take a position or take a huge hit in that election because the Republican base wants these Epstein files out. So here we have a rare moment of bipartisanship. Enjoy it while it lasts, because I doubt that it will. But certainly we know it will be talking about this at least through October, because that Virginia Giuffre memoir is coming out. I plan to get it, read it, talk about it. I know Morris will. And we are not the only ones, that's for sure. It's time for news, traffic, and sports. It's a perfect time to call me about whatever is on your mind, whatever's worrying you, whatever is inspiring you, keeping you blessed even in the mess. Rest in peace to Giorgio Armani. He made his transition at the age of 91. And I knew, Armani, is a brand. I didn't realize, when people die, they start telling you all these things you didn't know about them. I didn't realize that he was the first one to do Hollywood fashion on the red carpet. So he started this whole era of stars wearing designers to help promote the designers and keep the stars fashionable. Rest in peace, Giorgio Armani. We've got news, traffic, and sports and more conversation. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. President Trump addressed online rumors about his health, joking they started because he skipped press events for 2 days.
No, I was very active over the weekend. They also knew I went out to visit some people at the club that I own pretty nearby on the Potomac River. And no, I've been very active actually over the weekend.
He was recently diagnosed with chronic venous insufficiency, a mild condition common in older adults. 5 white teens in Simi Valley, California face hate crime charges after a viral video showed them assaulting black 18-year-old Michael Robinson while using racial slurs. Robinson suffered injuries, and the case is now under review by the district attorney. And gospel singer Leandria Johnson is working to rebuild her career after battling addiction and legal troubles. With support from actress and singer Candy Burris, Johnson is focusing on sobriety and dismissing team members who don't support her recovery. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Clippers have some explaining to do. A report came out late Wednesday claiming Kawhi Leonard was paid $28 million for an endorsement deal with a company that used to be owned by Clippers owner Steve Ballmer. The report said the company filed for bankruptcy in March of this year. Also in the report is verification that Leonard never did any work for the company. The so-called endorsement deal is being viewed as an attempt by Ballmer to bypass the NBA salary cap. If this is true, the $28 million would be additional income for Leonard on top of his 4-year contract that pays him an average of $44 million a year. The Clippers issued a strong statement denying the allegations. The NBA has launched an investigation. The NFL regular season kicks off tonight in Philadelphia. The Dallas Cowboys are in Philly to take on the defending Super Bowl champions. 5:20 p.m. kickoff on NBC. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
It's never too early to start talking about money in realistic ways with your kids. JP Morgan Chase navigates how to educate your kids now about creating long-lasting, healthy money habits. Whether your kids are in elementary school, high school, or college, now is a great time to start a conversation about ways to create healthy money habits as they grow, ultimately benefiting their financial future. Talking about money in a realistic way to support your kids' lifestyle and dreams, your first banking account geared towards high school or college. It's never too early. Explaining the basics, what you earn and what you spend, building financial confidence starts with getting organized. Learning and practicing vital money skills now will stay with them for life. Tools they will have to stay on top of their finances and achieve their goals. This segment is sponsored by JP Morgan Chase.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions, like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the Sleep Number biggest sale of the year. All beds on sale up to 50% off the limited edition smart bed. Plus free premium delivery with any smart bed and adjustable base. Ends Labor Day. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate meets a scholarly match.
I feel like I'm always saying it. In fact, I'm kind of tired of saying it myself, but there is a lot going on. Apparently, the National Guard troops, this is the same thing that happened in L.A., where they have nothing to do because there is no war, there is no crisis. They're basically wasting money. They're sitting around and they're getting sick of it. And say they've got their morale is diving as they walk around with nothing to do. 2,200 National Guard soldiers in Washington, D.C. More than 1,000 of them are from out of state. And usually they are supposed to be doing things like responding to hurricanes or that kind of thing. They've been mostly just doing nothing. Wasting money, wasting time, just sweeping up. Yes, when they're also helping to undermine your rights, but in between that, they have nothing to do. And it's the same thing we saw with the Marines and the National Guard here in L.A. It's for a price tag of about $1 million a day. $1 million a day. All right, let's go to Jeanette calling us from Inglewood. Good morning, Jeanette.
Good morning, Dominique. Thank you so much for taking my call. Excuse me. I just want to piggyback on what you're saying, and I'm going to call it a Think Tank Thursday subject for the National Guard. So what I'm thinking is, because the right always say that the left is so woke, and then they show what it is that we're woke about, I think that we should, combat that with saying they so sleep. For example, they're so sleep that they didn't know that when you put the National Guards in these different cities and states, that all the things that you, Dominique, just listed would happen. And make it like a little short, or go on TikTok and all the other social medias that I don't know anything about, and just keep showing each one. Just keep showing each. Oh, look, National Guard cleaning up. They so sleep. The right is so sleep. Just things like that. And then the second thing on the same line, saying that they so sleep. They're so sleep that they didn't know that when they deported all of these people, that nobody would be doing service at restaurants, maid service, and then they were so sleep that they didn't know that they would need to make special provisions for them to come back and work in those jobs. So I hope I explained what I was trying to say clearly, because I know sometimes my little solutions kind of get off, but I be understanding what I'm saying. So
no, I mean,
I
think I understand. You're talking about making a case for the opposite of woke being sleep and all the things that their lack of awareness, being in a sleeping state, is causing, i.e. the unintended consequences of deploying military in these cities. Just the housing costs alone, if you've ever been to D.C., it's even worse than L.A. prices. And now they've got to put all these thousands of National Guards people in housing. They have a tent city, but apparently the air conditioning rental was more than $500,000 for that, and then they're renting apartments. It's just this huge expenditure to do I don't know what. Mostly they're just walking around all day. They say doing nothing, just walking around wearing their uniforms. What a waste of money at a time when people are sleeping on the streets and looking in garbage cans for food.
And the thing is that most people don't know these things are happening. So, again, social media could help to say, no air conditioning, this costs $500,000 a day or $1 million a day. We just need to let the people know, because I didn't know those things that you just said. So yeah. I just think that might help.
I don't think it's every day. I think that was just more than $500,000 to put the air conditioning in. I don't know how much it cost to.
I see.
But $1 million a day, $1 million a day to deploy them. That's crazy. You know what we could do with that kind of money? What are they doing? They're walking around. Wow, waste of money, and also a waste of our rights. I love the fact, Jeanette, you definitely go in the rainbows and ponies and crystals and unicorns category, because you're always coming with solutions. And I love the way your mind works. Find a way to fix it.
My friends say that all the time.
Do they? I love that.
They do. So I'm a little out there, but then when they really listen, they're like, you know what? That's true.
Yeah, and even if it doesn't work, the fact that you're reaching for solutions is the thing. Like, instead of being doom and gloom and end of the world oriented, you're like, there has to be a way. There has to be a way. That creative, imaginative thinking, that's what we need right now. And I think all of us need more friends like you, Jeanette.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, indeed. Appreciate you. And we'll work on that. Calling people sleepyhead. More great news. A judge in Boston ordered the reversal of the Trump administration's cuts to funding for research grants for Harvard University. It's $2.6 billion. We'll see. I'm sure that the Trump administration is going to appeal this, but U.S. District Judge Allison Burroughs said that those cuts to Harvard were actually illegal retaliation because Harvard rejected the White House's demands. She said that anti-Semitism was being used as a smokescreen to punish the university. Anti-Semitism as a smokescreen for a targeted, ideologically motivated assault on this country's premier universities. I love that quote because it so very clearly shows you what the Trump administration is doing, not just at Harvard, at all of these schools. And we've just gotten a warning that the UCLA here in California is just the beginning. We could be talking about cuts of more than $1 billion within the UC system beyond what's already happened at UCLA by this administration. So this judge's clear-eyed decision is so important. I'm going to read it again. A review of the administrative record makes it difficult to conclude anything other than that defendants used anti-Semitism as a smokescreen for a targeted, ideologically motivated assault on this country's premier universities. Break it down, broke it down. Got it? I got it. Good. Let's go to Dwight, straight out of Compton. Good morning, Dwight.
Good morning, Dominique. Hotep peace to the KBLA family, and thank you, Dominique, and Miles and Tavis, everyone there at KBLA for giving us facts and not lies and propaganda. And I would like to ask everyone 18 and older to please go to vote.gov and register to vote so you can vote yes on Proposition 50 so we can fight these Republicans who are trying to make Trump a dictator. You know, they're completely against democracy. They just want a Trump dictatorship, and they're against child sex trafficking. They move Maxwell, who was Jeffrey Epstein's partner in crime,
Ghislaine Maxwell, yes,
security,
Yep.
to a minimum security prison in Texas that don't even allow that prison to accept child sex trafficking. They had to bend all the rules. So that shows you whatever the Republicans tell you something, it's the opposite is the truth. If they tell you they for something, be against it. If they tell you they're against something, be for it. I mean, they are so...
Okay, I'm going to push back on you a little bit right there, Dwight.
Okay.
Because I just don't believe in going strictly along party lines. Now, you know that I'm a lifetime Democrat. I consider myself the progressive wing of the party. But I'm not going to automatically be against everything Republicans say, because not just because a stop clock is right twice a day, but because if I agree with them, I don't mind bucking party lines for what I think is right, you know?
I give them 10%. I give them 10%.
I mean, I'll give you a concrete example. European leaders are meeting today in Paris with Vladimir Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, to talk about how they're going to send troops to secure post-war Ukraine and boost their defenses against Russia. Now,
right, they need that.
Well, I
but
don't agree with. I don't agree with.
He's helping Putin.
Yes, but at the same time, yeah, he is. We know he's in bed with Putin. But at the same time, the idea that Europe should pay for more of their own security, even though it comes from Donald Trump, is right. That's correct. Why do we, the USA, why do we, the U.S. taxpayers, have to secure Europe? World War II been over. You know what I mean? Fight your own fights. Why do we got homeless people? We need universal health care. Why should we be paying for your security? Y'all are rich. You have your own money. So
on that.
This is an example. Now, I'm not saying I agree with being in bed with Putin, but this is one small area where I do agree with Trump. Yeah, go ahead and force NATO to pay for more of their own security. Not that we should withdraw from NATO, not that we should make enemies out of our allies, but pushing them to pay more of their own security bill, I think that's the right thing to do. And when I see something that this dude is doing that I think is correct, I'm not going to automatically reject it because he's a Republican.
Like Marjorie Greene was with the Democrats yesterday fighting to release the Epstein file. So you're right. That's that 10%. I give them that. So let's look at what they're saying and analyze it real good, Dominique. You're right. And you can't paint everything with a broad brush. Like you can't say all black people, all white people, all this or that.
I just say policy over party all the time.
Right, exactly.
If Trump right now, which is not going to happen, but if he did, and I'd be happy to be wrong, suddenly said, you know what? We got it. We're doing reparations right now. I'm going to support that. I don't care if it's coming from, it wouldn't, but I don't care if it's coming from Stephen Miller. I would support it. I'm going to read the fine print and make sure it doesn't say, you have to be sterilized and hung from a tree. But if it doesn't, I'm going to support it. And so
Stephen Miller, isn't that odd, Dominique, that he's Jewish and is so racist against you would think, like you said, you think, Jewish people would be more lenient toward racism and stuff, but you had them take out the 2 New York black and the Texas Democrats because they spoke up against killing thousands of Palestinians in Gaza.
But see, let's be clear, that's not a Jewish agenda. That's an Israeli agenda. There's a difference. There are plenty of Jewish people protesting against that too. There's even Israelis that are protesting against it. But that's the Israeli government. And I think we have to be really vigilant about that. We cannot let them get away with making Jewish and Israeli synonyms, because they are not. Israel is a state. Jewish is a faith, and in some cases an ethnicity. Not the same at all. And we have to be really, because that's what they're doing. That's what this judge was saying. You can't just say anti-Semitic and use it as a smokescreen for everything, including, as a cover-up for genocide. That's not accurate, and it is what they're doing. That is the talking point. I do want to say, Dwight, and I'm glad you brought it up, that I'm with you on Prop 50. I know some people think we're descending into chaos and putting our democracy at risk by playing the lowball game that Republicans have started. But you know what? You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And right now, we cannot afford to sit by and do nothing. So I'm standing with the California legislature on this, with the governor on this, and saying yes on 50. So I'm glad you started there. We have a lot of work to do. People are going to be confused about this. The no on 50 folks came out hard. They're spending a lot of money. And this is one place where I would say, if Republicans are for it, you got to go against it. And that's when it comes to redistricting. So thank you for bringing that to everyone's attention, Dwight.
Monique, and you have a great, great day. And thank you for KBLA for giving us facts and not propaganda and lies. Thank you, Dominique.
Thank you, Dwight, straight out of Compton. We've got more straight ahead on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
If you're an African-American mom who is pregnant or have a baby under 6 months old, you deserve care that lifts, listens, and lasts. Black Infant Health is for you. It's a free program with individual support, group sessions, and resources to start your mothering journey. BIH makes space for moms and their families to create community. Learn more about the programs in Los Angeles County. Check us out at blackinfanthealth.org.
Become a U.S. citizen with the help of the Los Angeles Public Library. Get free and confidential information on immigration and citizenship. Visit lapl.org/NAI to find your nearest library, or call us at 213-228-7390. That's lapl.org/NAI or 213-228-7390. And start your path to becoming a U.S. citizen with the help of the Los Angeles Public Library. Call 213-228-7390 or visit lapl.org/NAI.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
Hi, I'm LA City Councilmember Curran Price, inviting you to the 30th anniversary of the Central Avenue Jazz Festival, Saturday, September the 20th, from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. We've got 4 pavilions, 3 stages of live music, plus food, fun, and a marketplace all along historic Central Avenue between MLK Boulevard and Vernon Ave. Our featured acts this year are Gregory Porter, Pancho Sanchez, and Jasmine Horn at the 30th anniversary of the Central Avenue Jazz Festival, Saturday, September 20th, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. along Central Avenue between MLK Boulevard and Vernon Avenue. Come out and bring the whole family because this legendary celebration is free. For more information, go to centralavjazzfest.com. I'm LA Councilmember Curran Price, and I absolutely approve this message.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
You got a big mouth. Hello, Joe, you're up. Welcome.
We're unapologetically progressive, and we don't black down.
We don't, and I'm glad that you're here. And let's see. Dwight called 800-920-1580. Not too late for you to do the same, 800-920-1580. We're going to be talking a lot about Proposition 50 because it is a local issue. This is a Cali thing, but it's a national issue as well because it's really a response to Texas. That's why it's called the Election Rigging Response Act, because we are responding to Donald Trump deciding to rig the election. He made up a lie that the election was rigged in 2020, and now he's actually trying to do it for 2026. Because he knows that they will lose the House of Representatives. There are two branches of Congress, right? The Senate and the House of Representatives. In order to pass legislation, to pass laws, you need both. It has to pass the Senate and the House. They pretty much have a lock on the Senate because of the unfair way that the Senate is set up. You get 2 senators per state, no matter how many people are in the state, which is undemocratic and ridiculous, but okay, not going to change by 2026. So they probably are going to hold the Senate. Highly unlikely that they wouldn't. The House of Representatives, they will probably lose because the policies that they're doing are unpopular. Prices have not gone down. They're overreaching. People don't like their cities being occupied with military. They don't like people who are not criminals being deported and thrown out of the country and kidnapped by masked people. So they know they're going to lose. The economy ain't great. They know they're going to lose. So that is why Trump asked for 5 seats from Texas, which he says he's entitled to. What? Huh? It's just like him calling that dude, I need, this many votes. Same thing. I need this many seats. So Texas is now changing their maps to create 5 new Republican seats. And that is why Governor Gavin Newsom and the California state legislature said, well, California is a big state too. We can create 5 new Democratic seats by redrawing our maps, and that will zero out what Texas did. And that is why Proposition 50, which is known as the Stop Election Rigging Act, has 2 things that are important. One is a sunset clause, meaning it only lasts till 2030. Trump is gone, it's gone. We go back to our independent commissions that draw the maps, okay? Independent commission, not plural, one commission. The other thing that happens that's important in this act, it doesn't happen at all. It has a trigger. It doesn't happen at all unless Texas or another Republican state does this mid-decade redistricting. Usually the redistricting only happens after the census every 10 years. Trump asked for it to happen in the middle of the decade, which is 2025. And our redistricting doesn't happen unless they do it. So it is a response to Republican voter rigging, trying to cheat so that they can keep the majority in the House of Representatives, even though the American people aren't happy with what they're doing. This is what happens almost all the time anyway. The party in power, the party that got the presidency, usually loses seats in the midterm, 2 years in. It's a normal reaction, people kind of keeping them from getting this unchecked power. Well, now, with the president having the extreme court, the Senate, the House of Representatives, the executive branch, and the 2025 Project 2025 blueprint, unchecked power is out of control at the moment. And they're trying to hold on to it by rigging the election to go against what is the normal pattern, and that normal pattern, which would be even more pronounced because people don't like what this administration is doing. They are doing too much. They are overreaching. And that is why he's trying to get extra seats by drawing rigged maps. And I understand what people are saying. That means that other Republican states can do this and they have more wiggle room, so they'll come out ahead in the end. We don't know that. They've got to pass those other seats in other states, so we don't sit there and do nothing and throw up our hands and say, what's the use? We punch back. When they punch, we counterpunch. When they go low, we block and knock them out. That's how we do it. No shade, Michelle Obama. Even the Obamas are like, I don't know about Michelle because she's kind of like, I'm out of this mess. But the president, the former president, Barack Obama, has already said he likes what Newsom is doing here. All of this points to a yes on 50. And it's not just Newsom. It's the entire legislature. And it doesn't happen without we, the people, because we're going to have to vote on it. It's a special election. It's in November. But it won't be that confusing because it's the only thing on the ballot. Prop 50. And the reason why you're already seeing all of these mailers is because Republicans didn't want this to happen. They were scared of it happening. They tried to stop it in the courts. California Supreme Court said, no, it can go ahead. So now we have Prop 50. The maps are already drawn. You can see them. They've been released. It creates 5 new blue seats in the state of California, canceling out the cheating that Texas is trying to do. Now, it's true they can go to Milwaukee and other places and try to pick up seats, but that's not a given. They still have to win those seats. And to my earlier point, you don't sit there and do nothing while someone's trying to choke you out, while someone's trying to rob your house. Say, oh, no, I don't want to use a gun. Man, get that thing out and get the person out your house. It's called self-defense. So I'm a strong yes on 50. Looking forward to another delightful hour of conversation, which you are invited into on YouTube and on the radio and in real life. We'll be joined by Jonathan Chaka Mahone, an artivist in the hip-hop world, getting stuff done. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about resistance. Let's talk about change. That's straight ahead on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. President Trump addressed online rumors about his health, joking they started because he skipped press events for 2 days.
No, I was very active over the weekend. They also knew I went out to visit some people at the club that I own pretty nearby on the Potomac River. And no, I've been very active actually over the weekend.
He was recently diagnosed with chronic venous insufficiency, a mild condition common in older adults. 5 white teens in Simi Valley, California face hate crime charges after a viral video showed them assaulting black